The old DOS. According to Green's Dictionary of Slang, a collection of obsolete or unco words archived by a fellow historical linguist, the old DOS, along with a few other quirky idioms, is a slang phrase for prison. For the aforementioned synonyms, refer to Windsor Group Hotel, Abbott's Priory, Cope Gill College, to which you may find a College Street solicitor in the showers to drop the soap with, or King's Head Inn, where you're guaranteed 3 hots and a cot, yet none of the benefits alluded by the title. I'd imagine the vagina's sobriquet of Red Snapper in that lexicon could be hinting that the woman in question has been sexually violated. Columbus Black is a euphemism for marijuana, likely speaking for itself in terms of etymology. Sidled Awry, my channel name, was evicted from another dictionary dedicated to preserving queer language. Francis Grose's Dictionary of the Vulgar Tongue contains the adjective sidled awry, meaning crooked. While both dictionaries were discovered on digital platforms, I do own an abridged physical copy of Mr. Grose's transcription of a filthy mouth slug. Initially, my concept was fairly basic, if not derivative. Transmissions from the singularity of a black hole, parenthetically. Even if clever, the execution would still be uninspired and largely conceived as lazy. Beyond technology, the singularity refers to the infinite function value that rests in the center of a black hole due to an immeasurable density in a highly concentrated area of space. What may not be common knowledge is how black holes can be formed. One approach involves the termination of a star. Once a star has reached the end of its lifespan, death is characterized by an exhaustion of energy expended via light and heat. Approximate example nominates our Sun. Having existed for an estimated 4.5 billion years, the remainder is estimated between that and 5.5. By this time, all examined life on Earth will have since evolved to a form that transcends our current level of apprehension, or is submitted to extinction. Evolution has a limit. For now, until a number of centuries succeeding, we reside in the Anthropocene, an era dominated specially by humans. Predicting the future proves difficult, even when contending with smaller values. People may remain relatively unchanged in 5 years, physical appearance and psychology reflecting the nature of tribal instinct and cultural customs. Nevertheless, with the high probability of macroscopic organisms ceasing to exist long before the egocentric body has inflated to epic proportions, flushed with hypertension, parenthetically, or constipation, our capacity to observe and document the occurrence to confirm the hypothesis is 0 to none. Many may consider a star's mass expansion to generate an increase in heat before subsequent explosion. However, this bodily enlargement is actually indication of steady decline in the star's initial temperature. While astronomical objects within distance of extinction will be incinerated or, in Earth's case, made uninhabitable due to excessive heat, the internal experience depicts a gradual expulsion of hydrogen, helium, and a 1% aggregate of other elements. Instead of continuing to recycle these elements as fuel, the Sun will ultimately exhaust the need for them. With no passage of containment, the element's only direction of transit is through egress. As a result, the Sun undergoes a change in mass where compression yields to distension. The Big Bang was incited to similar effect. An impossibly dense compression of inertia whose energy was unfurled by an atomic, imperceptible force of dark matter. A crash course of this event can be further explored by utilizing the interactive workshop of Death Stranding. The outcome of this explosive reaction is what continues to be observed until eventual expiration. During this time, all astronomical objects will cease to drift apart. This event is hypothesized as the Big Crunch, an inverse operation that complements the Big Bang's theory of inertia to entropy, compression to expansion. The Big Crunch, if evincing as the true end of cosmic continuity, opposed to its understated competitors, see the Big Rip, will enact an epic of reversal. At its genesis, the event will cause all celestial bodies to revert course, embarking on a journey of gravitating closer to each other instead of distancing. Ultimately, what marks the universe's terminating sequence is a proliferation of black holes, the direct result of every star collapsing in totality. Upon death, each star transforms. One of 4 forms can be claimed. Once the Sun's red giant phase reaches critical mass, the following explosion, or nova, will give way to the new form of a white dwarf. Other forms include brown dwarf, red dwarf, and black dwarf. It is the latter that is often a precursor to black hole formations. In the aftermath of this mass star extinction, black holes will survive as the only active bodies in space. The anticipated crunch is instigated when these black holes reach their own extinction, an event that will set the final stage. All energy consumed by black hole mergers will experience the same release of energy as depicted by the Big Bang. Photons, the primary molecular component of light, will eject from the singularity as remnants of stars, now spaghettified and squirming aimlessly for a brief period, before dissipating. Finally, the crunch is punctuated by the dissolution of atoms. With no building blocks to give substance, the universe has been reset to a reflection of its rudimentary state, even more dark and inactive than the last. It is possible the Big Rip has been posited as an alternative due to what occurs in the singularity, a place where nothing can escape. Any attempt thereof is met with the punishing consequence of the aforementioned spaghettification, which warrants little explanation. Yet this too remains in the realm of theory, an educated guess that only becomes more convoluted in the unlikely event of actually surviving passage. Since nothing can escape, it would be eternally unknown of a survivor's status, more importantly, their experience. Having concluded that tangent, we now return to the reason for why the concept of being inside a black hole was intended as the original approach. Everything from the avatar to the banner to the thumbnails would be black. The content for each video therein would consist of a black background overlaid with various images and text corresponding to the theme of that video, with narration accompanied by subtitles. However, as it stands, this approach is not liable to generate traffic in the same way that caricatured expressions and bold, enlarged text with an all-capitalized title is guaranteed to effect. See clickbait. Essentially, the method is a failed experiment, the very same conducted by an intrepid volunteer who funambulates the line between courageous and stupid, taking one unblinded anti-gravity leap into the void where no one can hear you scream from that Gorilla Glue and hair prank. Transmissions will still be broadcast from an altered dimension. For now, I must recalibrate my circadian rhythm to the nearest Kepler 452b. That would be Kepler-452b.